90s lounge techno superstar Moby, for those who recall, um, had Hunter Biden on his podcast. We've also got a bunch of calls that we are going to get to. And we've got Clay Travis here who's going to answer the question: do Hunter's legal woes change anything in the big picture? First, though, because he's out there talking to Moby, um, we should hear some of what was said on. I truly had no idea that Mr. Moby was on a podcast like this. I also had no idea that one of our staff members, Clay, one of our beloved staff members, has a Moby story, a personal Moby story for us. Perhaps we
Not
will get.
perhaps. It has to be told.
I think the story has to be told. So we may bring somebody on the team into this in a second. But in the meantime, yeah, that's what we call a tease. In the meantime, here is Hunter Biden trying to give his side of things on the Moby podcast. Play it.
I recognize that none of this is necessarily about me. They are trying to, in their most illegitimate way, but rational way, they're trying to destroy a presidency. And so it's not about me. In their most base way, what they're trying to do is they're trying to kill me, knowing that it will be a pain greater than my father could be able to handle. And so therefore destroying a presidency in that way.
I'm sorry. I do not feel sorry for, and if anything, I'm too much of a softy and believe too much in mercy and in a lot of for basically like non-violent and non-heinous crimes. I'm usually like, second chance. Clay, he doesn't even face his father's the president. He's not going to prison. And the only reason he thought he could get away with all this was that his dad was the vice president. He thought he was protected. Now he's claiming he's being targeted for reasons of politics. He thought he had immunity for all things he did because of politics.
You can't make tens of millions of dollars based on your dad and then get mad when, because you made tens of millions of dollars because of your dad, that becomes a story. Hunter Biden, Buck, there are probably hundreds of Hunter Biden-ish deals being done. I'm not naive, right? If your dad or your mom is in a position of prominence, Washington, D.C. is a networking town. There are lots of kids out there of prominent parents that get jobs that they don't deserve and get paid way more than they otherwise would because of who mommy and daddy are. And it's not unique to Democrats, and it's not unique to Republicans. That's how that town works. Chelsea Clinton, whatever she does, has made millions of dollars more than she would have if Bill and Hillary Clinton were not her parents. Sasha and Malia Obama have made way more money than they would have if mommy and daddy were not Barack and Michelle Obama. To be fair, the Bush daughters, Laura and Jenna have made way more money than they would have if George W. Bush was not their father. Isn't Jenna Bush on the Today Show now? Jenna Bush would have never been on the Today Show if her dad wasn't president of the United States. And I'm not trying to take a shot at any of those people. People trade on influence. But you know what none of those people that I just mentioned, who are all sons and daughters of presidents, have done? Become crackheads, paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for prostitutes, and failed to pay millions of dollars in taxes, all while trading on their parents' names in order to make themselves fabulously wealthy. Also, no one wants Hunter Biden dead, right? It may make Hunter Biden feel better, the idea of, oh, they want me to die because my dad won't be able to handle it. No one wants Hunter Biden dead. No, look, the only person who wants Hunter Biden dead is probably him, because he's engaged in so much reckless behavior that he's fortunate to be alive. And if he really cared about his father that much, he wouldn't have been, given what happened to Bo, putting himself in the same kind of peril to potentially cause his dad to lose both of his sons. I've got 3 sons. Nobody's rooting for anybody's son to die. But we do believe in the United States that you should pay taxes. And if you don't pay taxes for millions of dollars and you try to hide income and you trade on your father's name for generations of wealth, then you should
Look,
be held
the,
accountable on some level.
the biggest problem here, in my mind, I should say the two biggest problems. One is Hunter was above the law because his dad was a powerful Democrat for many years. That's obvious. That's irrefutable now. There's no serious argument on the other side. So this is the two-tier justice system that we worry about. I would want to know if I could. And we haven't played the clip yet, have we? Oh no, we did. We just played it a second ago. I was going to say the Moby clip. We didn't hear from Moby, just from Hunter. Um, we'll hear from Moby, maybe some of his music coming up. But the two-tier justice system. I would want to ask Hunter Biden. Uh, how do you feel about nonviolent January 6 protesters who were held in solitary confinement and treated like Al Qaeda terrorists for 18 months before they even had a day in court? Did that bother you? I would want to know. Of course, he would say, no, they're insurrectionists, whatever. And that's when I'm like, okay, you face 17 years. Maybe you do need a decade in prison. Maybe you do need to cool your heels for a little bit there. The other part of this, Clay, is why should we care? Because what they're going to say is this is personal stuff. This is Hunter's failings. He's an addict. He's, a sex maniac. Like it's not anything that has to do with anything more important than that. Lots of things happen in America every day. He'll pay the price, which he won't pay the price, but put that aside. The whole thing was meant to influence at the very top level of government. It's not like his dad was, county commissioner for, some place in the middle of North Dakota. No offense, North Dakota, but his dad was vice president of the United States. Okay? He was creating at least the perception, if not the reality, of steering decisions from the top of the federal government in a way that would benefit our biggest, basically, enemy, but you could say our biggest challenge, China, and the most corrupt country in Europe that is the closest thing right now to bringing the whole world into World War III, Ukraine.
Yes.
This stuff matters. It's not just that Hunter's taxes matter. It's Hunter's taxes are part of a scheme that was meant to steer decisions about things as consequential as war and peace for the United States federal government. I know that sounds like crazy talk to some people, but when you're looking at China and you're looking at Ukraine and you're saying you get special access to the vice president and everyone he knows, the whole point is you get special access to VP Biden, Clay. You get access to Obama, too. You get access to the National Security Advisor. You get
Yes.
access to all of it.
Yes. And remember, let's just talk about Ukraine for one moment here, because much of the money that is now in public record as a part of this 56-page indictment came from Burisma. Burisma was paying Hunter Biden $1 million a year, and they immediately cut his payment to $500,000 as soon as his dad left office. You might be sitting around saying, well, that's super interesting, isn't it? And remember, Joe Biden bragged about getting the Ukrainian prosecutor who was looking into Burisma fired. So there is a direct line from Hunter Biden being paid by Burisma and a quid pro quo being delivered that Burisma was seeking in terms of the prosecutor looking at Burisma being removed directly based on Joe Biden saying that he was not going to allow the foreign aid that was directed to Ukraine to be received. Again, this is Joe Biden himself talking about this, bragging about this after he left office in Georgetown. So my point on all this is it's impossible to disentangle Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. And for that reason, you asked the question last hour, I do believe this is going to be consequential in 2024 for this reason. The story's not going away, right? They thought 5 months ago, back in July, that Hunter Biden was going to plead guilty to these 2 misdemeanors. He was going to have no consequences. And then throughout the entire 2024 election, anytime this came up, Joe Biden could say, my son was investigated. He was prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law because of his last name, and he paid his consequences, and that story is over. Now, for the entire 2024 election cycle, Joe and Hunter Biden are still intermingled. And I think what this is going to do for a lot of people, and I think this is unfortunate on some level, Buck, is a lot of independent voters have decided they don't like Trump and they don't like Biden, and they think they're both corrupt. Because that's the way that a lot of people think out there, right? They're sort of alienated from politics. They see two super rich old guys fighting for the presidency. They don't think that that's very reflective of their day-to-day lives. And they say, sort of, to hell with both of them. And I think actually that benefits Trump. And some of you are saying, what do you mean by that? They're saying to hell with Trump, to hell with Biden. Biden sold himself as something different. The allegations about Trump and him being a rich kleptocrat and all that stuff, I'm not saying that I buy it, right? I think actually getting involved in politics has cost Trump a ton of money instead of getting wealthier like everybody else does. Trump's actually lost money. But if you were one of those people who bought into the idea of Biden's clean, he's going to restore decency and decorum to the White House, Hunter Biden is a really dirty rug that is right on the front porch of the Biden family house. And I think Joe's directly connected to it. And I think more and more people are coming to that conclusion as this House investigation goes on. So I think this is actually a big mess that isn't going away for the Bidens. And I do think it will have some consequence in the 2024 race.
I hope you are right. I think it's not going to make any difference whatsoever. But I hope you're right, because it should. It should. You have more faith in the system, I think, at this point, or at least you have some remnant of faith. I have zero faith that the system is going to do anything here. Oh, we should address this, by the way, Clay. People keep saying, are they doing this to prevent Hunter from testifying before Congress? I've gotten this question a lot. Some of our VIPs have even asked this. No, I don't think so, because one, even if they subpoena Hunter to testify before Congress about any of these matters, he'll just be advised to plead the fifth. And he wouldn't actually even then testify, because that's just, you're not going to have him sit there and not answer questions. There's no point. So I don't think that would make much of a difference. I think they're doing this because there's a political cost to using their this is getting a little bit into some nuance, but I think they realize the political cost of going after Trump the way they have legally isn't working out necessarily the way they thought it would. And they're going to have a tough time making that all stick if the president's son is clearly, in the most egregious ways, getting away with all kinds of actual criminal activity. You know what I mean? I think that they felt like they had, I agree with Andy McCarthy on this, they had no choice at this point. They tried to not bring charges. They had to bring these charges.
I think there's a level of embarrassment that most lawyers won't take. And I think what happened was Merrick Garland, the attorney general, felt like he was being thoroughly disrespected in the way the Hunter Biden fix was in. And once that brave judge, Noriega, said no, they were beyond the pale of defensible legal conduct. And they said, we tried to get the fix in for you. If it had gone through, it would have gone through. But once it blew up, all of a sudden it was blowing up on Merrick Garland and on Weiss, the prosecutor.